Social, and I'm sure you'll agree that was another great week of Six Nation fixtures. Here we are at the end of week 4, and in this video I'm going to give you my team of the week. And as you'd expect, it's littered with Italian players, English players, and some French players, and one player from a losing side. But what a weekend it was. I mean, kicked off with that Italy-Scotland game, which was just amazing, so intense, so exciting, a real thriller. Great to see Italy come back so well in that match. Then a real classic between England and Ireland. Just an epic competitive match. I guess disappointing from an Irish perspective. You know, their back-to-back Grand Slam dreams have disappeared, but nice to see England playing back with their A-plus game. And then the Sunday game as well, Wales versus France. You know, I think the scoreline, I can't say it flat as France, but I think Wales were competitive in that match for most of it. You know, last 20 minutes, they sort of drifted off the pace a little bit. But, you know, it looked like we might have been on for 3 upsets at one point. Anyway, after all that epic rugby, let me talk you through my team of the week. So let's start with the front row. And in terms of loose head, I'm going to give it to Ellis Genge. It was great to see him back at his kind of bullocking best. You know, he carried well. He was strong in the set piece, and defensively he was quality as well. So really nice to see him get a good, solid 50 minutes of vintage Genge there. In terms of the hooker, I'm going to go to Italy for that, and I'm going to give it to Nicotera. I thought, although he had a couple of wobbles with the lineouts early on, you know, he was great otherwise. You know, defensively he was really good. He carried the ball beautifully. And in fact, that whole Italian front row I thought played really well. But he's going to get the hooker position. And then in terms of tight head, I could only go one way with this one. Antonio for France, I thought, was magnificent. Yeah, he's obviously a huge beast of a man, and he just absolutely dominated that scrum. You know, it just brilliant scrummaging, and he is pretty good round the park as well. He's pretty nimble for such a big man. So that's my front row. In terms of other honourable mentions, I thought Cyril Baille played well for France. I also thought Jamie George had a great game. It was good to see him actually get some ball in hand and beat some defenders and get some line breaks. And as mentioned before, you know, Italian front row is great, and I think Ferrari also could have been really in with the shout for tight head had Antonio not been so magnificent. So let's move into the locks. And again, going to go for an Italian to start with. I thought Russo was excellent. You know, he's just such a great line-out option for Italy. And he also managed to contribute with 16 tackles. And you know, these are the sort of tackles that actually make a difference as players are coming onto them. So I thought he was great. And I'm going to partner him up with George Martin. I thought George Martin, again, was just fantastic. You know, similar to Russo, he had a lot of tackles. I think he was 14. But the way he banged into rucks, knocked people about, was just phenomenal. And he seemed to be like a real enforcer there for England. So those are the two I'm going to go with. I think other honourable mentions, as ever, Tyburn had another great game in what otherwise was probably quite a disappointing Irish performance, but he was good. Now let's head into the back row. And again, lots of great performances across the weekend there. Starting with blindside, I'm going to go for Ollie Chesham. I think he adjusted moving from lock, which he has been playing, into the blindside position really well. He was hitting people in the way Courtney Laws used to hit people. So I think he had a really great game. He just butchered people. And also excellent line-out option. Then open side, got to be Lamaro for me. Just absolutely love him as a player. He seems to be charismatic on the pitch for Italy. Really great leader. And just an out-and-out tackle machine. I think he kind of hit something like 24 tackles in the match. Just phenomenal. And obviously Italy were doing a lot of defending in that match, particularly in the first half. And he really stood up well. And then just to round off the back row, I am going to go with Ben Earl. Probably no surprises there. I think most people who are doing a team of the week are probably going to go for Ben Earl. Just magnificent, you know. Again, huge tackles, amazing meters made. I think he was around about 100 metres, just under or just over. Obviously scored that try that took England back into the lead. Phenomenal performance, and obviously got man of the match on the day as well. Other standout performances in the back row that I was impressed by, I thought Andy Christie had a really good game for Scotland. I think that was his first start for Scotland, or certainly his first Six Nations start. He seemed to be a constant threat, constantly at the breakdowns. Impressed with him. Likewise, Underhill was banging people, pinging them, hitting them hard, looked good. And then final one, and I have to say, Exeter, I think, have got quite a player on their hands, because Ross Vincent was just incredible. Ball in hand and his pace was phenomenal. So, yeah, he's looking like a really great prospect. So that rounds up my forwards. But, yeah, love to know what you think. Have I made some decent selections there? Is there anybody I'm missing? Please do let me know in the comments. And whilst you're there, feel free to like and subscribe. It would be very much appreciated if you do. So moving into the halfbacks. Again, a fair few options in the halfbacks to go for. In terms of number 9, it's got to be Le Garrick. He really seemed to get France fizzing again. It's his first start. I think I was calling for him to be a starter a couple of weeks ago. I think I also put him in my team of the week a couple of weeks ago, even though he only played half of the match. He was phenomenal, got them fizzing about, scored a try, and really looked to have moved France out of their slumber and into a bit of action. And joining him, I'm going to have to go for Garbisi. Garbisi, what nerve he's got in terms of, another ball fell off the tee when he was kicking. He had the composure at that penalty just to pop it back on and then slot it over. And again, for the kick that kind of gave them the lead and took it past 2 scores, that penalty was phenomenal, because where the mark was given originally was then moved back about another 5 or 6 metres to make it a pretty tough kick, and he slotted it over beautifully, and you could just see the relief on his face. So giving it to Garbisi purely just because, A, he did have a great game, but B, nerves of steel with that kick in. The other halfbacks I like the look of this weekend was Pajarello for Italy. I think he's perhaps the missing link in terms of, they perhaps struggled with scrum halves over the last, probably for as long as I can remember, and he looks like the real deal. So he had a really good game. And I also thought Ramos coming in at fly half for France, kind of made things happen as well. He looked pretty fluent, got things going. I know he came under a bit of criticism defensively, but yeah, I did really like the look of him too. And then the midfield, 12 and 13. There was only one place I could go for that this week, and it's a pair of Italians. In terms of Monticello at 12 and Brex at 13, I just thought were absolutely magnificent for Italy. Both looked great in defence. Both put a fair few tackles in. Scotland put them under some pressure. Particularly in the first half, and for patches of the second half, and they stood up really well. And also, when they got ball in hand, they just looked so dangerous. They cut some lovely lines and just looked so powerful. So, for me, those two as a pairing looked magnificent. Also, a bit of a shout out for Joe Roberts at Wales. I thought he had a decent game. Looked strong, looked powerful, and looked like he could make a few things happen in attack. And then wrapping the team up with the back three. This is where I've got my only player that was on the losing side this weekend. 11 jersey, I've gone for James Lowe. James Lowe is just such a quality player. I mean, obviously, Ireland didn't see a massive amount of ball at the weekend. He still managed to get over for 2 tries in the corner. And his kicking, his left boot kicking is just phenomenal. Gets Ireland up the pitch so well. So he's in there as my number 11. Number 14, there were quite a few people up for this one. Feo Boso, I thought, had a good game. However, I've got to give it to Damien Penaud. Again, he looked like he was kind of coming back into a bit of form. He's really difficult to deal with when he's got ball in hand. He always seems to beat the first defender. He makes great yardage. And whilst he didn't get a try, he probably deserved one. And he just looked like a bit of a force in that French side. And then final position, fullback. I'm going to give that to George Furbank this week. I think just his ability to kind of join in with the England attack and link things up and just pop up in the line. And he just got such a beautiful way of running. He kind of glides across the pitch. Obviously went in for a second try in two games. But yeah, he looks like a point of difference for England in terms of attacking. And whilst, he hasn't got necessarily the area ability of Stewart, his kicking is decent, and it looks like he and Freeman and Mitchell, could all link up and do some nice stuff there for England. I also thought Capuzzo looked really decent for Italy. Didn't quite make the team this week, and it was quite amusing to see the couple of interactions he had with Van der Merwe. Just the size difference between the two, but that didn't put him off. He got really stuck in. So defensively, a great player, and obviously we're all aware of his attacking abilities. So that was my team of the week. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with any of that? Do you disagree with any of that? Are there other players you think should be in there? Please do drop into the comments. Let me know what you think. And whilst you're there, appreciate if you want to give me a like or subscribe. Love talking about rugby. I hope you do too. Any support you're willing to give will be much appreciated. Now, just going to round off with my player of the week. And I think there's only one way I could go with this one. I just thought Ben Earl for England was magnificent. Magnificent in every aspect of the game. Magnificent defensively, magnificently with ball in hand, just making breaks, running past people, scoring tries, man of the match performance. And yeah, he was phenomenal. And I think England will rue the last few years when he's been in and out of the side or starting off the bench. He was magnificent. So well done, Ben Earl, player of the week. Thank you for watching. It's appreciated. And I will see you on the next one.